Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome back to another after show for the Mindy Project, Season 3, Episode 19, Confessions of a Catholic. I'm your host, Sterling Cates, and you can find me on Twitter at Sterling Cates.
What's going on, guys? I'm Nicholas Grava, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nicholas Grava.
Hey y'all, I'm April Whisenhant, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
And of course, you can find all of us at AfterBuzz TV. Please go on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, all of it. You can find us at AfterBuzz TV.
Yes.
All right, let's get into the Mindy Project. First of all, it's a boy!
It's a boy!
Yay! At first, when they did the sonogram, of course, Mindy had it all over the office.
Yep.
But
Danny had it all over the office.
So Danny did, not Mindy.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because it said, of course, Mindy did.
Yeah.
But so it's a boy. I didn't realize that was their huge announcement though, because for some reason I thought that maybe we saw it last week, but we didn't. This is the first time we heard it's a boy.
I did, yeah.
More than it's a boy, holy crap, that baby is huge.
It's a big baby.
Because that's like a full-term baby that they're showing in that ultrasound pretty much. And she's what, like, as far as, I mean, I don't know how old they're saying she is or how far along.
Well, and the main thing about now we know it's a boy, we're seeing the sonogram and all this, it's like, holy crap, the baby is real. We are doing this.
All of our predictions are wrong.
Yes, it is happening. It is all going on. We're having a baby on the Mindy Project.
It's crazy to, like, I still can't wrap my head around that is going to be this show. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be the reality of it. And are you guys surprised it is a boy? Or did you think, like, 'cause she wanted a girl, and like she said, even when they said it was boy, she's like, well, she may decide where she wants to, you know.
So she's like, so I can still win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I feel like Mindy won't be able to relate to a boy as much as she would a girl, but then again, I can't really picture her as a mother yet.
Yeah. I'm not surprised it's a boy only from a writer's aspect, because it's easier for them to write, like, funny stories of Mindy not knowing what to do with a little boy.
True.
Exactly.
And of, like, him accidentally peeing in her mouth or something.
Yeah. And can you imagine?
It's funnier that way.
And can you imagine Danny with a boy, though? He's just going to be so upset.
That's true. That's going to be actually a really good plot. I think so I can see Danny as a father, but Mindy as a mother, no. Can't see it.
It's very interesting. I'm curious to see how this show's going to go with her being a mother, you know, just exploring all of that and how her fans will relate to it. Because I feel like, you know, we're not parents.
No,
so we don't know what's going on.
Right, exactly. And I think that's like one of the big pulls to the show was like she was going through a lot of things that people could relate to. And I think now I still say it's like I think it's such a risk for them to do. I think all will pan out fine. I think the show will still be hilarious because it's Mindy and we love her mostly. So, but yeah, it's still just shocking to get used to that.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be really funny watching her learn how to, and adjusting to that lifestyle compared to the one she leads now. So.
And it'll make us appreciate it that much more because they're not just taking the easy way out of like having this thrown as a twist in their story and like, oh, she's pregnant, but she's not, or something happened. Yeah. They're actually going with it when I think everyone kind of expected them not to. So I think it'll make us appreciate it more.
That's true too.
Hopefully,
yeah, they're going the hard way. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like that.
There's got to be a reason they included it in the storyline other than, well, I was surprised that she's, in real life, Mindy's not pregnant. And usually that's the reason they incorporate it. So there's got to be some, you know, like bigger story here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll soon see.
I guess we'll see. So it's happening. It's a boy. All right, I'm going to cross that one off the list and talk about it. And so then the next thing we'll go ahead and tackle is Jeremy's one-man show.
Absurd.
An American Tale, it was called.
Yes, An American Tale, which came out of nowhere.
Creepy, absurd, all at once. I don't know.
Has he wanted to be an actor before?
No.
I just don't... Okay. Yeah, well, I guess it's just something that the office is all participating in this episode. Like, there wasn't anything else.
Well, they always have those random little side projects that each of them do, so I guess they just decided to take Jeremy in this route, which he does, like, weird stuff. He's been into theater, which, I mean, this is theater, obviously, but he's been into, like, operas and serious theater and that sort of thing before, so I guess they just decided to run with it so that they could give... I mean, it created kind of my favorite comic relief moments of the night.
It definitely did, especially with Morgan and Beverly.
Yes.
But I love one thing about it that I love, not just with this storyline, but also with Mindy's and Danny's, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Morgan is just always the first person to help. You would think he'd be the most unreliable person, which he kind of proves to be true. And Jeremy's storyline, but everyone relies on him for so much, but he's so not responsible.
He's so invested in their lives. I think that's what it is. Like, he is committing sometimes more than them. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's sitting front row, giving the lines to him. Even, like, last episode at Mindy's practice, like, he's the one there, like, helping her out, get customer, or, you know, get patients and stuff like that. He's all, I love him. I think he's, like, one of the funniest characters on the show.
He is, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
He's, like, the best friend that everyone wants and needs to have. He's a little overbearing sometimes, of course, but he's so funny. And like, he's a huge writer on this show, so he writes.
I was so surprised to find that out.
He's saying, which makes him even better.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, he's awesome. And so we see him helping Jeremy with his lines. So Jeremy has this, like, crazy, like, dream to be an onstage actor, apparently, that we didn't know before. Gynecologist. But he says, I'm a great actor, I'm just terrible at memorizing lines, which, you know, is the main part of it.
That's kind of the first step, Jeremy. I hate to tell you.
So Morgan's role there is to help him learn his lines, which, you know, he says he's just going to help feed them to him. While
by mouthing them.
By mouthing, which will never work anyways.
No, I didn't even notice once the play was going. I did see Morgan mouthing the words, but I didn't notice he was, like, watching them, because he was kind of turned, and then as soon as Morgan left, he didn't know the words. So I was like, I didn't understand. I didn't know, like, how intense he was really paying attention to Morgan at the time.
Yeah. So Morgan gets distracted because obviously he's trying to help Mindy and Jeremy at the same time, which you just know is not going to end well when he's trying to be on his phone and be with the play. So long story short, he ends up catching Dr. B's toupee on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Why did I forget his name until just right now when you said that? I'm like, oh yeah, Dr. B.
Oh gosh, yeah. But I didn't even recognize him because he was wearing that hairpiece.
He looked very coiffed today. He looked showered, clean. He was looking good.
At least he's part of the team now.
That's true.
I also thought I'm sorry not to interrupt you. Did you guys think, I thought he was going to be like a one episode character and going to be replaced. I'm surprised they've had him on for as long as they have, or if they're going to keep him on.
He's here.
Yeah.
He's on.
You think
I mean, I don't know, like next season kind of thing, but he's there.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I'm surprised by that too, because when they first introduced him, he seemed very bland and not funny and didn't really click with anyone. But now they're making him be, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Gary or the Jerry or whatever, Parks and Rec, they call him Gary, Jerry, Barry, like all of the names. He kind of reminds me of one of the ones that they all kind of like don't relate to, but he's just there.
Yeah.
Sort
fun
of.
character in the mix, I think.
But by having him wear the hairpiece, he like, it made him interesting this episode.
True.
As opposed to if he was just sitting there, then it would have not been as funny.
Yeah.
Well, and it catches the entire place on fire and ruins Jeremy's show.
But gets him a write-up in the paper. The only way he could get a write-up in the paper, I think, from that play.
And April, I'll let you say Beverly's line.
Oh my gosh, our favorite part of the night is Beverly's line when Morgan gets up and she says, "On my cigarette, damn it to hell."
Damn it to hell.
She has like 4 lines a show, but they are all killer.
Yeah.
Because she's just, I wonder how they found her. I mean, I know she's like an established actress and everything, but I'm like, homegirl is hilarious.
I think my dream job when I'm like in my 80s is just to have a role on a show like Beverly does.
Yeah.
Just, you know, get like 30 seconds of airtime, but you just have the funniest line of
you have
the
the
whole
funniest
episode.
lines, you have a steady job going.
Exactly.
And you can tell like she must be such a nice, funny lady to offset. I'm sure. I follow her on Twitter too.
You do?
It's a good idea. I'm just going to say it's a good idea.
So what's her real name? I probably should know that. What's her Twitter?
I don't even know. I could figure it out.
All
I could figure. Well, I'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll figure it out
Yeah.
and let everyone know because
Yeah.
I want to follow her.
Yeah,
Me
she's
too.
pretty amazing.
Because the rest of the cast is so funny. I didn't even think to follow Beverly on Twitter.
Oh, I did.
But we
I've
should do
tweeted
that.
at her back and forth a few times. She's nice. Yeah.
But we should do that. So obviously Jeremy's play did not go as he hoped, but at the end, everyone comes together and watches his play, and it's a little nice moment.
I think
for
that's
everyone.
nice that like even at the end, that's one thing I do like about all the characters in the show is like some shows they kind of always have their differences, but in this one it always seems like they do treat themselves as a family. Do you know what I mean? Like even it's an office and they don't get along all the time, but like moments like that, it's like I like you guys. Like this is good. I like to see that.
They're a family.
They're a family. As cheesy as it is, they're family. They're family. Come on.
Yeah, so that's about it for Jeremy's play that
Yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
talk about. I mean,
Really
So-
all you could.
so let's get into the meat of it here. So obviously, Danny is a highly devoted Catholic.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's very important to him. Him, Ma, and the Yankees are like Danny's three things. If anybody knows anything about him, it's that.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, he's in the confessional confessing all of his sins, just random ones about like standing up his Ma and whatever. And then he says he's had premarital sex, got Mindy pregnant, they're living together and they're not married, blah, blah. So like all of these like...
He said a few big ones and a few little ones, but he like rushed through the big
Yeah, he
ones.
was like,
Throw it in.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, oh, he wanted us if I say it really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the
Exactly.
priest is like, I'm sorry, what?
Well, and then the priest drops
And then he
dead.
dies.
Which I was on the set. You were like, wait, is he actually dead? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I guess so.
I thought he just like fell
That's
out
what
or
I
something.
thought. Or like he like passed out
Or he
from
just,
like
like,
the craziness
had-
of his sins or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, maybe he like passed out from being so crazy.
When they went
Like, I
back
can't
to it
think.
and he was actually dead, I did not think that was going to happen.
Me
neither.
The priest like actually died. He said that he couldn't handle his heart couldn't handle his confession.
Well, he was
but he was really old.
really old.
But
Yeah.
like the coincidence that he just drops dead and
Terrible
then
coincidence. Terrible. Poor Danny.
Mindy refers to him as Jesus' roommate. She's like, was he Jesus' roommate?
and they didn't even address it again that he
No.
died during his confession. I don't know. I was very taken aback by that.
Yeah.
But the reason he did die is so that we
Midway.
meet so we meet the new priest who is Michael O'Donnell, who is played by Stephen Colbert.
Shocking.
funny.
Shocking
Which
to find.
I loved this episode because Stephen was in it.
Yes.
But when he first came on the screen, I didn't even recognize him with that
The
beard.
beard is crazy because it's so gray and his hair is so dark.
Yeah.
It was hard to recognize him.
I
but
didn't
then you hear his
until
voice
you
and
said
it's
it.
like-
I didn't
I
recognize
was like, oh my God. But I knew that he was going to be on the episode, and I knew he was playing a priest, but it just didn't even click to me because it didn't even look like him.
No, it
you know?
didn't.
But so he gets up there and Danny says, oh my God, that's Mike O'Donnell, who was this, such a bad boy in the neighborhood, was known for like
The
taking
virginity
everyone's
thief
virginity.
in Staten
Well,
Island.
look what I wrote down right there.
Did you get it? You got that line? I wrote
Yeah.
it. I was really quick writing that one
Yeah.
down.
So he says that in this father, I forget his name, but the priest who died, he says that
Francis.
when he's delivering his eulogy, Father Michael now, he says that he has had sex with 257 women.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I was like
hardcore drugs.
975. Like the numbers in my head did not match up. I was like, that is so many.
And he has a sleeve.
I'm glad it wasn't.
Everything that anyone has ever done, he's done. But now he's a priest, which
Yeah.
is the beauty of forgiveness.
That's it. Except he made a very clear line of what sins could be forgiven and then what sins were terrible sins.
Right.
And as Danny and Mindy are sitting there, they're getting like lower and lower in the views because everything they're saying is exactly what they've done.
Right, is defining their relationship.
Cohabitating, living
Yeah.
with some. Well, that's cohabitating. Premarital sex and dating someone outside of the religion. Which
Yeah.
we don't really know what religion Mindy is. She's something.
What did
but
She
she
said
say
she's
today?
Hindu.
Yeah, she's
she's like,
Hindu.
I'm Hindu. I'm
I'm
immortal or
immortal or
something.
She thinks she's Hindu. She doesn't even know if she's Hindu.
She
or not.
doesn't really have a
I don't think-
faith
No.
system.
I think she's the type of person that would say like she's spiritual. I think
Yes.
she would like end it at that or something.
Yeah, which I like about her because
Me too.
it, it goes against a lot of stereotypes,
Yeah.
and she just doesn't really get it with being in church, and she calls it a show and says your part was the best
What
part
did
of the
she say?
show.
Your speech, and he was like my my sermon or whatever
Yeah.
he said it, and then she was like, yeah, the show was good. He's like the mass.
Yeah, that's
Let's get
good.
it clear.
And then she's like taking selfies with the nuns, and so
Oh
she just
my
doesn't
God.
get how
Yeah.
the traditional aspect of that works. But yeah, so of course the only things that Father Michael says are sinful are the like 3 things that they're doing.
Yeah.
But so Danny doesn't want to be seen as this bad Catholic or whatever it is because he grew up kind of with this like goody two-shoe type of reputation. Like
the choir boy.
He played the baby Jesus until he was 15.
He must have been a small little boy.
Small little man, really. I was surprised that his ma took the side of like being like, oh, you don't have to tell, like you don't have to confess. Because I was like, well, where would he have gotten these strong values unless he just created them himself to like want to go confess anywhere in his life? Is his mom wasn't the one, or his ma wasn't the one like telling him like you got to do this. Yeah. So I was surprised to hear that from her at the dinner table.
Well, I did think she brought up a good point about, you know, why he would feel like she's like, well, what do you feel guilty about? Because that's obviously why he doesn't want to confess or whatever it is. So I thought that was an interesting, like an actually interesting point. Like he's obviously feeling guilty about something that he feels that he should confess.
Yeah.
But then he kind of flips that at the end.
But I loved that time at the end when he was like, listen, like, you know I should feel guilty, but I don't. And like he was owning his stuff, and I was like, you know what, another good like Mindy just weaves in some good moments, you know?
But before that, he tells Father Michael that Mindy is Catholic and is saying her last name is McPherson and all of this stuff just so that he can get his approval, which, you know, he's lying about all these things, and that's even worse than, you know, just owning up to it.
All he has to do, though, is get to this one dinner, and then he can switch churches. That's what he wants to do anyway, but clearly that's never going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then meanwhile, Mindy's all, you know, self-conscious that he's embarrassed by her and all this stuff, but really there's nothing to be embarrassed about, I guess, you know, just outside of it. But then Mindy starts texting Father Michael. Like, I don't understand how she got his number and why she's texting him.
We'll say Danny had it. She always ends up with everyone's phone number somehow.
That's true. And texting with emojis nonetheless.
Yeah.
You know?
Sexy dancer girl. Whatever.
And he's like, who? But then so she ends up inviting him over to dinner, and he wants spaghetti or something.
Yeah,
so,
like,
spaghetti emoji.
Spaghetti dinner emoji, thumbs up emoji. I'm a fan of the thumbs up one. The spaghetti one I haven't used much. Maybe I'll try it.
No. So they invite him over for dinner, and he ends up coming because later he says he came because he heard a disgusting rumor that Danny is dating like a sex addict.
Yeah.
Person. That's a terrible whatever. Yeah. But Mindy is trying to pretend that she's Catholic and is having Morgan text her Bible verses, and then
she was playing it off well when she read that. I'm like,
yes, she was.
Okay.
Yes, she was.
She even got like the lines mixed up or whatever Jeremy's line was because Morgan switched it up, and the priest was like, oh, You've stumped me on this one.
You've gone deeper than I thought, yeah.
Yeah. So we have that. So the whole thing, you know, just doesn't, you can see that it really affects Mindy, that they're talking, she's defending herself as the ex that he's talking about. But then you can see it's kind of, she's taking it personal now.
Yeah.
Which is how she gets herself into so many sticky situations. Whenever, like, a long time ago, Danny, whenever she first met Ma, and they were at lunch, and she was trying to pretend to be something, and then she got mad and offended. So, she was trying to defend Danny or something like that. And so I knew, I'm like, oh, this is going to go in a topsy-turvy way.
Yeah, she's not one to, like, bite her tongue and just kind of let things over. When she's going to speak her mind, she's going to speak her mind.
Yeah.
She's like, actually, she's amazing.
Right. Yeah. But we've seen...
very good Mindy. I felt the Mindy vibe.
There you go, April. But we've seen her a lot having to try to be something she's not, which she doesn't end up doing for the whole time. She always ends up being herself.
Breaks the mold.
But she, you know, just having to prove herself to other people, which we see a lot in the show. But she always is true to herself. And at the end, I'm so happy that Danny defended her and was like, because when he saw the monogram, or the monogram, sonogram, obviously, like, not married or parent, the monogram, the sonogram, he was like, oh, you're a gynecologist, that must be one of your patients. And then I was going to say, if he didn't own up to it at that point, like denying his own son, then that would
I think it would make us not, like, you know what I mean? I think it would go against character, and we know him to be a stand-up guy, so I think he would, I was happy when he finally did that, too.
Not going to lie, I was pretty surprised he did it.
Were you?
Yeah, only because he's so Catholic, and the entire episode was about him, you know, kind of lying to this priest to make himself feel better, or to make it still seem like he was the old Danny that everyone thought he was back from his neighborhood in Staten Island and everything. So I was I thought he was just going to roll with it, but then I was definitely really happy that he didn't. And the way he was just like, you know, I can lie about other things, but I can't lie about my son. This is my son, and Mindy's actually amazing, and I've never been happier.
Tear.
I was also really surprised that Mindy held her tongue in the moment, ultimately not revealing like this is me or kind of going crazy, because typically she would. So maybe, you know, she's maturing a little bit.
It's her maternal instincts. And,
I know. Well, I think that she also realized that how important it was to Danny to you know, have a good reputation with Father Michael. But so she's overhearing Danny defending her, and then she decides that she wants the baby to be raised Catholic.
Big choice for them to give us at the end. And I think another way that she could be like, here, Danny, because kind of for you, because at the beginning he wanted it and she was kind of against it, and like, I think that's really cool that she did that and kind of sacrificed that, or, you know, made the choice.
Yeah. Well, I think originally she was wanting, you know, the kid to decide what he wants to do. But, you know, you got to start somewhere. And if he decides that he doesn't want to be Catholic, I think Mindy would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Danny might not be, but I think Mindy would be.
Will fight for it.
I think the kid's going to be Catholic.
End of story right there.
Yeah. So that was the end of the episode. We know that the kid is going to be Catholic. Jeremy's play did get an audience with just The Office at the end.
Mindy thinks the Bible is on fleek.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bible is on fleek.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So that wraps it up. Let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Do we have any more guest stars that we know about coming on?
Well, because
we did. Oh yeah, that's right. Because we had Kris Jenner, we had Stephen Colbert.
That was quick. I thought Kris Jenner was going to be more than that.
Yeah, it was super fast.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other major guest stars that have like a substantial role like he did tonight. But I know that all the ex-boyfriends come back, which was like in episode 1. I was like, I bet we'll see all the ex-boyfriends.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be. So is it gonna be all at once, or maybe like in each episode?
They were all in the same. I don't know how or if it'll come. I mean, we only have 2 episodes left, but they were all. The picture that I saw, they were all in the same scene together.
Oh, okay, so probably
wow,
what
a scene.
It could just be like a dream or something too, though, that she's having. Maybe they're not actually coming back like in the show. It could be a dream that she's having.
It could be. I also think I read that Laverne Cox from Orange is the New Black is going to be on an episode.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's something. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to have to look that up. But I feel like I read that when I read that Kris Jenner was going to be on and Stephen Colbert. There's like one other person. And I want to say it's Laverne Cox, but I'm going to have to look that up. And I'm going to tweet that out as soon as I figure that. Or April's looking it up now.
Yeah, perfect.
But do we have any other predictions for, you know, Mindy and Danny or The Office? We didn't see anything this week with the fertility
her practice.
clinic.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I was wondering because last episode it kind of was like getting off to a rocky start, trouble getting some patients in there. So I think we will see more of that for sure. I think that's gonna come up. When do you think when's this baby gonna come?
Yeah, so do we know how many months along she is?
The baby was huge, so I would assume
it's like any day now.
Tomorrow?
She's got to be pretty far along.
Yeah, but she doesn't look.
But she's not showing much or really anything.
I'm sure they'll turn that into a storyline in and of itself. The fact that she's not showing. You were right. Laverne Cox is guest star.
Okay, that's I don't know why. Like I just
which I love.
I'm
excited about that. Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to be, maybe it's something with the fertility clinic, or I don't know, I guess we'll see. Any other last minute predictions?
That's all I got.
Babies.
But happily ever after with Danny and Mindy. All right, where can we find you guys on Instagram and Twitter?
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Nicholas Grava.
And you can find me at Sterling Cates. And again, you can find all of us at AfterBuzz TV. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Yada yada. We will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.